Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm Joel Madden, and this is Artist Friendly. On this episode, I'm talking to Ashton Irwin from 5 Seconds of Summer. I don't wanna have bad. What's up, Ashton?
What's up, man? How are you?
I'm great, dude. So for everybody listening, Ashton Irwin is here.
Hello, it's me.
Ashton Fletcher Irwin.
Yeah.
Born 7 July.
Yeah, happy birthday to me just recently.
Happy birthday.
Yeah.
1994.
Yeah, it's ticking on a little bit.
I'm 79. An Australian musician.
Yep. Traditionally, that's where it got going.
Drummer of rock band 5 Seconds of Summer. Since 2014, 5 Seconds of Summer have sold more than 10 million albums.
Damn.
Whether you knew that or not. I'm reading your Wikipedia.
That could be dangerous.
Well, the thing
Honestly.
that's frustrating about Wikipedia is it's always a little off.
Yeah, I actually avoid reading my Wikipedia.
But here's the problem, is anytime anyone, if I say Ashton Irwin's here and someone's listening and they don't know, they Google you, they read your Wikipedia, and then they read, the thing I hate about Wikipedia is there's always like things thrown in there that don't matter. It's all from internet articles that are basically deemed like truthful or right, which most of them actually are off.
They're recontextualized.
Yes.
And it's a bit brutal, like, because artists often get out there, you tell truthful stories about where you are, what made you, where you came from, and they're sensitive topics usually. I mean, if you really want to share and affect people and like actually connect and show some soul.
Absolutely.
You know.
And like some of the details are wrong. You guys might have sold more than 10 million albums.
Oh, definitely. No.
Sold,
I'm kidding.
sold over 2 million concert tickets worldwide. You might have sold more than 2 million concert tickets. The band's song streams surpassed 7 billion.
Wow.
Did you know that?
I didn't know that either.
That's really impressive.
I'm not a stats guy.
Yeah, no.
I'm just not like...
Yeah.
Maybe I should be.
One of the most successful Australian musical exports in history. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, but I mean, the wave that's coming out of Australia, though,
is really good.
That, man, like, you know, it's fantastic.
Anyways, it goes on. There's a bunch of stuff in there. Thanks for coming, man.
Oh, it's a pleasure to talk to you. I know we've been mates for a long time, and you know, you're always growing what you do. And I remember our first introduction was just hanging and writing songs.
Yep.
With John Feldman.
Yep.
Back in the day.
Back in the dizzy.
Yeah. One of my best musical memories was when y'all sent us Amnesia.
Oh, dude.
The track.
What a song.
And the boys and I were in a hotel room in Toronto, I think. And we listened to it and we were just mind blown. We're like, this is an absolute banger.
It's one of my favorite songs that I've ever been a part of. And, you know, we played it a couple times when we were doing the Madden Brothers thing.
Yeah.
And it's just such it's I don't know, that song's special. But, and for anybody listening that doesn't know our relationship, we go way back. And I said this to you of I think like a month ago, but when I think of you guys, when I think of 5 Seconds of Summer, not only as a band, but as guys, not only are you like, from the first time I met you to all the way to now, watching all you guys like just go through the what it means to have a career. It's really hard to have a career. It's not only hard to just have that first big record, but then what do you do after that is the hardest part that no one tells you about. But you guys have, you know, developed not only into a badass band. If you go see 5 Seconds of Summer live, if you listen to the songs record after record, but as people, you guys are all just good guys.
Thank you.
And I feel like I have to say it, and to be able to say it publicly, to be able to say it like somewhere like this, is I feel so grateful that you guys let us into your creative world and we got to work on songs together and we got to be a part of that part of your journey with you. But to be a part of your success, I don't know how many people have said thank you, but I always just feel so grateful it was, especially at a time in my life when I was figuring out what do I have to offer the world with music? Like, what does it matter? What do I matter? Like, can I, and I think that like you guys put a lot of confidence back in us, and you shared something with us that like you don't have to share. You're on your journey, you're having your success, and you don't owe anyone anything. But you guys included us in some things that I'll never forget, and I always feel like it was such an important part of my like musical journey, my career. And I just like always feel when I think about 5 Seconds of Summer, there, I just feel like super grateful to like have been able to witness that part of your career.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, you, in our innocent mind, in our childlike way, when you met us, we were pretty young.
Yeah, you guys were young.
We were just drawn to the truthfulness and the guidance you were dishing up to us. When we would chat, it'd be like, that makes total sense to me.
Yeah.
That's not bullshit.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not.
And we picked that up, and we really appreciate it. We needed guidance. We needed help. We needed some kind of like reassurance that what we had was worth protecting and worth like worth understanding deeper and opening ourselves to like collaboration too, because we were really very undeveloped songwriters back then. Writing directly from the heart. There was no tricks. There was no melodic math. There was no like kind of trying to see ahead and write the song that people want to hear next week. Like it was just pure and direct from our energy. And I think
it's how we are when we're that age.
Yeah, it was perfect.
Yeah. Also when you come into this and you're teenagers, you guys were so young. You still had chops back then. You guys all had chops back then. Now I would say you're the most, like I'd say 5 Seconds of Summer today, and you as a musician today, because your musical ability and your musical kind of your prowess as a musician is it goes beyond what you just do on stage and what you just do on the records with 5 Seconds of Summer. I've heard not only the solo music that you've released, your projects that you do, and your musical chops are insane.
That's amazing. Yeah, I love it. I just love it. I've been on my path since I was young, and I knew music would save me. So it was just like the only way for me. I'm not really, I'm not super sharp at a bunch of other stuff. I'm not like the best businessman ever. I'm not.
You're pretty good, actually.
I'm getting better.
You're good.
But I apply myself now because I'm like, those skills will help me shine, and the people around me do better. But yeah, I that's where it's always been rooted. And I think the musical application and mastery and that kind of thing and sticking to that path keeps you safe from all the stuff that doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's been my perception anyways.
The bullshit.
Yeah. Like, keep looking after your skill and keep sharpening your skill because it can't be just ripped away from you like a lot of things. My ability or my patience to learn and make better music or just get better at what I do, more flexible in my mind when I create things. That's where it's really at. That's how you create the longevity.
Do you think that the size of like the success of the career or the overwhelm of all of it, because I think when you're going through all of that, there's some of it you're in control of and a lot of it you're not in control of.
Yeah.
Do you think that like maybe the music, going back to the music always, because I've always kind of found you to be like a real musician first.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that kind of like in a way like gave you a quiet place to like to retreat to from the overwhelm of like a career that can sometimes feel like it's out of control of your hands? Like,
my feelings were that it was the only thing people weren't looking at.
Right.
Like, it was like,
it's true.
Like people aren't even giving a damn about how good a musician I am.
Right.
Like they're talking about other stuff, like who I'm dating or what I did wrong,
what
I said wrong or what I did right or whatever the hell. and it was never focused on like, are you doing your rudiments, dude? Are you doing your
Right.
scales in the morning?
Yeah.
Like, are you, yeah, it was just, it always felt safe and pure, and it's practice, it's spiritual. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's just about that for me.
Probably kept you safe in some ways too from getting like what I find when I see a lot of musicians and a lot of my friends who have had these big careers, um, it's overwhelming.
Hmm.
As great as it is, I'm not even saying anyone's complaining. It's just overwhelming, and they didn't retreat back
Yeah.
to their musical, to the music,
Yeah.
to the quiet center of it, and they got caught up in some bullshit that they were trying to escape the other bullshit.
Yeah. Because I'm a drummer as well, like I didn't bet on my career lasting forever, and I don't.
That's
Um,
funny.
so I'm like, look, I might, you know, I've got to be ready for anything. I got to be ready. I got to be sharp. I got to protect myself through actual dedication and work, not just like indulging in the pop cultural success of the group I'm a part of, you know?
Mm.
That seemed kind of like a little unsturdy.
Mm.
um,
But it always does.
it does, yeah. And I just felt like, if I just stick to my path and what I was actually practicing before I even met those other guys, I might be okay. But yeah, you just dedicate to what's true in your life,
That's kind of like a real blue collar
It is, yeah.
approach to
It is,
this, because
yeah.
we're from similar backgrounds, right?
Which is crazy to hear you say and for me to understand and agree with.
Yeah.
Because, I'm from Western Sydney,
Yeah.
middle of nowhere, Sticksville,
I'm from Charles County, Maryland.
which I didn't
Middle of
even-
nowhere. You could go see it, and it's pretty far away. And, people are really great. It's
Yeah.
a really beautiful place. But I didn't learn anything about the music business,
No.
and didn't even seem like a possibility. But I had the same approach as you. As I was like, if I just if I focus on the work,
Mm-hmm.
and I just learn things and learn how to do things,
Mm.
I can always have a job.
Yeah, it's just not coming to conclusions about what you are. Like, I think that's a big part of it. Like, don't apply what people say you are to who you actually are. Like, that's a big journey, I think, that all of us probably go through. And yeah, I never came to conclusions about, oh, no, I'm the guy from this band.
It's not the sum of who I am.
No, and don't allow it to be. Like, people are just so much more special than that. I don't think anybody needs to say they're one thing because of something they did well, or some success they had or whatever. Because I think just as a dude as well, like I still need, because of that blue collar upbringing, I still need a hammer to hold on to.
Yeah.
Like, whatever the hell that looks like in my world. You
Yeah.
know, I still need that for my peace of mind and my spirituality, my relationships, my work ethic. Like, it needs to hang on something real that I understand at a real simple level. Like, that keeps me healthy.
What do you think and it feels to me like all of you guys in 5 Seconds of Summer came from similar backgrounds, right?
Yeah, we were just buzzing around the same grounds.
Yeah.
Luke's mom was my math teacher at high school,
Wow.
which is crazy.
Yeah.
I met her when I was 14, and she goes, "No, you can keep drumming on the tables in math class. That's fine. I understand how it is. My son's a musician." Little did I know that was Luke,
Yeah.
which is pretty crazy. Like, the synchronicity that was already happening, the alignment between just us as people in the band was already happening long before we even met.
And then how long after that did you actually meet him and become friends?
About 4 years
Oh, okay.
later.
Wow.
So I don't know how that happened. It was just, but for conversation's sake, yeah, we were from similar areas.
Right.
And we all kind of knew of each other because there was about 10 musicians.
and for the sake of understanding, for anyone listening, what I'm kind of getting at is like no one in the band was born with an obscene amount of wealth.
No. No.
Everyone comes from a pretty working class.
Yeah, that's Aussies too. Like,
right. That's very Australian.
Very, yeah.
There's some rich Australians though.
Hell yeah, there's a lot of rich Aussies.
Definitely
like,
a lot of
there's
rich
some
Australians in the world.
There's a lot.
Yeah.
Very prosperous.
Yes.
Like,
Hardworking people.
yeah, but look, I'm just like, I'm son of a landscaper. Like,
Yeah.
I used to go to work with my stepdad, and
Yep.
I'm mowing lawns. That's where I started. Then I got a job at Blockbuster,
Yeah.
and then I joined a band.
That's what you do. I mean, you look around and you see people working,
Yeah.
and then you go, okay, I'm gonna have to work.
Yeah, I just went, oh my God, like, I don't have any support from anywhere else.
Mm-hmm.
What the hell am I going to do here? Like, I better start working early, get ahead of this, because I'm miles behind. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
And you and Luke are really close.
We're close, yeah, especially with our songwriting thing.
Yeah.
I really love writing. I love writing with older guys. They have different muses that you engage with. And
Yeah.
we all write a specific kind of song together.
Right.
But Luke and I have a special relationship with our songwriting stuff. It's kind of like we don't allow anything to touch it. Like, even if him and I had a disagreement or something, we could still write a song together
Yeah.
the next hour, because it's compartmentalized in
Hmm.
this space that's safe and just creative and respectful.
Again, like I hear that and I go, very blue collar.
Yeah,
Like we got to go to work.
exactly right. Like,
Hmm.
show up, don't bring,
You know,
The
we can
bullshit.
fight at dinner.
yeah,
And we can have a whole thing for weeks. We can have a family disagreement that, we go through these things with our family where we're all in something and like for weeks we're figuring something out and there's some tension around something.
Yeah.
But like if we work together, we go to the job site and we do the job. Me and Benj were like that a lot with Good Charlotte. We would argue, or we had to learn how to communicate and process because we didn't get that growing up.
yeah,
Because our parents worked hard.
Mhm.
They weren't big communicators. The job was feed the kids, keep a roof over your head, right? And so our generation, I don't think anyone learned how to process experience and go like that made me feel like this, or
Mhm.
like communicate with one another and understand each other's experience.
Yeah, and it also takes a long time just as a singular human being to become aware of your own ego and
Yeah.
your own traumas and your own hooks that you got stuck in your back. Like, it takes a long time to like feel, see, and observe and then understand, and that's why I think we leave room with my creative relationship with Luke and Cal and Mike. Like, we leave room for like mistakes or waves, we call them. Like, everybody goes through
Right.
waves of life that are not very understandable from other people,
Right.
but you need to not hold it so tightly and try to be controlling of the nature of the relationship.
When did that like really materialize as like a function of your band? Like when did you guys mature in that way where you were like able to like
Last week.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a work in progress.
Yeah.
eh? It's like, it's always getting smoother though.
Right.
And whenever we have creative conversations or business conversations or whatever, it always becomes more understanding and transparent and smoother because, we really do make room for each other to live life. It's not about the band. Like, we have one life each, and everybody still has to live. It can't be totally dominated by what the band are doing.
Yeah, you got to have your real life
Got to.
where you're a person going through human shit.
Yeah.
And you're hopefully you're developing and evolving, and then you bring that back to the music, and if there's room for it, the music grows too.
Yeah, it does. Yeah. Yeah, every time.
Because when I see your band, I kind of feel that from you guys. I feel like you guys are like brothers that have grown up together, and you're all different.
Yeah.
And you all have I'm sure the interpersonal relationships between bands are real human beings, and it's like being married to 4 people.
It's crazy to tie your fate to 3 other people.
Yeah.
Like, that's the way I think about it. It's that deep.
Mhm.
It's like, for me, it's like I fully gave my presence and my energy to this creative vessel that is comprised of 3 other people,
Yeah.
and gave my livelihood to it too,
And your whole youth.
Yeah, it's like, here it is, and that's how deep the sacrifice feels in the soul.
Yeah.
But to share that it sounds dramatic, but it's really like what it is,
I mean, it is kind of dramatic, because it's real. You didn't go have a college experience and get to have the youthful experience of like of growing up in kind of the normal on the normal path of like you go to college, you have your first big relationship, you have
Yeah.
you learn how the world works, you learn how to live in the world. That's what I think of when I think of college. It's like this safe microcosm of life that you can go learn how to like navigate the world.
Yeah.
And like we didn't get to do that.
No, I was fascinated by it, like growing up. Like
Yeah.
when I would get to speak to people that weren't in a band or anything like that, and they'd be like, "Yeah, we're the same age," and the stuff they were doing and what I was doing was just not even relatable. Like
Right.
totally different lives. Absolutely,
And
but
probably sounded really cool to you.
it sounded super cool to me. It sounded pretty like, it just sounded like there was more room for self. Like there was no, because everything we did growing up was kind of in the public eye
Yeah.
too. So it's like you're just being young and learning how to live in front of
Mhm.
people is just like, it's just confusing. Like, because really the biggest thing in my life has been that inner voice, like teaching myself how to speak to myself. Like, that's been massive. It's like I allow myself to have positive talk to myself for my own growth and survival. Because if I listen to everything everybody said about what I do or how I live, or
Mm.
I'd be a mess. It's too much input.
Mm.
But then that's a more spiritual approach.
Yeah, but I do think that there's like a really valuable thing there for like, you know, I think about like when I hear why I like to have these conversations is I love to talk to people that I think are special, that have done really special things, and then that have had success.
Mm.
And especially someone who you're a perfect example of someone who had success at a young age and then had to learn how to live in the world and in that and navigate personal growth, real life, real development,
Yeah.
and then also evolve as a person and evolve as a band, come on the other side of it and still be a real person with a soul. Because some people lose it somewhere along the way. Like we see it sometimes when those cautionary tales of artists, and
Yeah.
they never come back, right? And because essentially we're kind of going off to outer space with each trip we go on, with each record or with each phase or whatever, and then but like you have to stay grounded in something in reality to have a real life
Hmm.
and to have like real connections and real and I see you guys as an example of a band that uh early success and then had to navigate that and not completely implode or explode,
Hmm.
and then continue on and forward, because we all have to do something. We all have to make more. We all have to like it's human nature. We have to make another record. We have to
Yeah.
make another thing. And
Especially if it's going good.
yeah,
Like, it's like, oh my gosh, I actually get to show up at this. Like, I'm
yeah,
still just like, I just turned 29 and I'm like, I'm still in five sauce.
yeah.
This is amazing. Like, I still get to play.
And you guys are better than ever.
Yeah, I
I
feel
mean,
like
like
we are.
you guys are fucking throw down. Like as a band with the live show
Yeah.
and your songwriting and your records, you guys throw down. Like you guys are seasoned songwriters and musicians. And that doesn't always happen. Some people get stuck
Yeah.
and they never develop past where they got their first success. I think they get stuck almost like a trauma.
Hmm.
They get stuck at an age, and they never grow like past with new capabilities and new abilities. And so like I've noticed with your band, you guys, and I do think there's something about being in a rock band that is there. The growth is natural in rock bands specifically, but not always when you've had kind of that pop success.
Hmm.
That I experienced it and at a young age too, but not as young as you. But I experienced it at a young age, my early 20s, and I think I had to reach and figure out how to grow there was a real danger at one point where I could have become completely infantilized and crippled with all the overwhelm of my own idea of what was happening. There is like a therapeutic side of it. I think you have to process like the whole thing.
Yeah.
And again, like you guys, I think we were always really grateful, and we didn't want to blow the opportunity, and the fans were so supportive, and we didn't want to let them down, and there was all this stuff. But you guys have continued to grow, and where I think 5 Seconds of Summer is today, I think you're a better band than you've ever been. I think you all write better songs than you've ever written, and I think that you've come out the other side of a decade of hard work. It feels like grounded, hardworking, super connected guys, where you could not be. You really could be a shell of some
Yeah.
band.
Yeah. And it's not a fear, but it's like, it's priorities too. Like
Right.
we put each other first for a long time. And, but life changes, and you just have to be flexible. You can't come to conclusive thoughts about the way it was yesterday or idealize yesterday, Like sometimes I wish we're still a band that could just live in a house together and make music every day.
So do I.
But it's back there,
Yeah.
And everybody wants to live their life, It's not so connected in that way anymore.
Yeah.
But the fact that we all still make that effort to come together and do what we do together and experience the kind of mystery of it too. Like, I've worked with a lot of other people now. I've collaborated with a lot of people, and it just made me realize even more that I have a unique relationship that is flourished from our youth and our innocence and like our kind of sponge brain
Yeah.
in the beginning, like, and you're not going to let people down that you came into the world with, that's like, they're your brothers. And I really look forward, and one of my goals in this life is to have my friendships with the guys like exist in my life till I'm done here,
That's how I feel.
Yeah, like why would I want it any other way? Like just
Yeah.
be gentle with it, and the successes come and gone. Like let the relationship be good,
And
Like,
the successes will come and they'll go, and they'll come and they'll go.
yeah, you can't just cling to that. Like
Yeah.
I think, especially when you become more fresh-minded and you're open to the potential of succeeding or failing, not being connected to it. I think more success comes because you're being creative again, and you're not playing to the gallery or whatever they say.
Yeah, I always feel like we respect when things succeed.
Yeah.
We really respect it,
Yeah.
and we try to take care of it.
Mhm.
But we also don't look at failure as a terrible thing,
Mhm.
because I feel like we learn a lot, and I've gotten old enough now where I've failed at enough where I have a lot of information from all those failures that I feel like really serves me.
Yeah.
And helps me make better decisions in the process of what we do. Again, I think it feels like I always think of you guys as like good, like working guys. That's how I see your band. You guys have always worked really hard.
Yeah.
You represent yourselves with good manners, like, which is weird to say, but like, I don't know, like there's something old school about me where like I always notice bad manners and it bums me out, but you can't force everyone to like say please and thank you.
No, and also some people's approach is lethal. It's just like the expression, especially in today's current world. Like you can present yourself with language and that kind of thing in a way that is just entertainment based. Like a lot of people speak a certain way, they say certain things to allure, and it's a whole game of seduction.
Mystique.
And it's a whole thing, But
Respect.
respect. Seriously, it's just like I don't have that in me.
Yeah.
I'm like way too chill for that. I also don't. I'm not really thinking like that very often. And if I say something that is sounding like that, it's probably just a real thing, But yeah, there's a whole thing to it. But I didn't think we would have lost very long if we weren't being polite, because we're not like I don't know. No one owed us anything. No one owed us nothing. You know, we came here as
Yeah, but you guys always presented that way though. You didn't present like entitled. I think you always it felt like very much like you guys felt like lucky. And I always struggle with luck because with lucky, like, oh, it must be nice or lucky, because you have to work hard to get
yeah
those opportunities.
yeah
But you can't necessarily say I worked hard for this opportunity all the time, because some people can't relate to that, because that opportunity just looks so big and great, and you know, you have a hit record or you have this or that, and you're like, well, I worked really hard for a long time to try and get here. But there's a humility to understanding the opportunity and respecting it,
Mm.
and then the success, have like when the success arrives, whenever it does, to actually understanding the gratitude I have to show
Mhm.
is not necessarily always to God or the universe. Sometimes it's to all the people watching that are inspired,
yeah
and they need to see someone win with some class and humility to be inspired to do it themselves. Because if we feel like someone's winning and they're untouchable and they're not, we can't relate to them, we start to kind of almost go like, I don't know if it's possible for me because I'm not special like that.
Mm.
Because sometimes I would look at someone who seemed like just so far out because they were just so good at what they did, or they were like, I would just put such a distance between me and them,
Mm.
because I was like, I'm never going to be that talented. But then I would see a musician that was that felt really humble, and I would relate to them in that way, and I would go like, I think I could get lucky like that guy.
yeah
Even though now I know it wasn't luck, it was really hard work, and there's some luck. But if we don't work hard, luck is worthless.
I think it's a lot of persistence.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's what the guys and I realized too. It's like we're really not. There's so many. Oh my gosh, how many places have I been on tour where I've walked into a bar and seen a 15 times better band than what we are? There's a lot of people out there with the ability that just is incredible, you know. And I think we've always just thought in the way that's like, you know,
That's the humility though, because I'm gonna tell you, as a guy in you know, as long as I've been doing this, we always, and me and Benj, when we talk about bands, we always know like the good musicians,
Mm.
and we know the bands that can really throw down. And you guys are in that category for us. You're not in the category of a band that, oh, they can kind of play.
ringing it in.
Yeah, no, like there
Yeah.
are some musicians who are on different levels,
Mhm.
but I'd put you guys in the class of bands that not only are you tight and you're seasoned and you've played a long time together, but individually you guys are good musicians.
Yeah. Yeah. I love the way the guys play.
Yeah.
Like the way they grew. And a lot of it, I saw our musicianship expand so much when we went on tour with One Direction back in the day.
Yeah.
Because they had this killer band behind them.
Right.
It was just insane. Like chops on the drums and incredible stadium guitar solos.
Yeah.
And even just learning how to harmonize whilst we're on tour with those guys, like they were a dialed unit.
Top
And-
level.
Yeah, and if you ever saw, it sounds funny, but if you ever saw the like Take Me Home tour or whatever it was,
Yeah.
the first one we went on with them, we were just mind blown by the way they sounded through a PA. Like it was just insanity. I was just
Well, again, like you look at that band, you look at those guys individually, and you see a high level of talent,
Yeah.
high level of work ethic,
Mhm.
and real ability in all the different ways, right? Like I think what happens in pop music is it gets kind of thrown away how good someone is as a musician or a songwriter or whatever they do. And when you look at those guys and look at their individual successes they've had, and you can't fake that success for that long. You can't.
Nah.
You have to give credit to the success over the time they've done it, because you can only fake for so long, and then it blows up on you, and it deteriorates.
Yeah.
And you go away.
Mhm.
When you guys went on that tour, that was your first like real tour, big tour.
Pretty much. We'd done two before it.
Right.
We were doing the Aussie circuit,
Yeah.
which was grilling us financially.
And it's hard.
Because we were like, you know, we made a set of T-shirts or whatever, and we borrowed some money from Luke's mom.
Yeah.
my math teacher.
Yeah.
And we made shirts and we went and toured, and we were touring Australia. We were playing like 200 cap, 400 cap.
It's really hard to
1,000
start there.
people. And it was growing. And then the first band we actually went on tour with was Hot Shell Ray.
Right.
And we did an Aussie tour with them. And those venues seem absolutely mind-boggling to us when we're supporting them.
Yeah.
Because at the time they had the number one in the US with Tonight Tonight and all this thing. And we were like, that kind of pop rock actually makes sense for us. We were already thinking in an A&R way. We were kind of like, that could be good for us, that direction. That makes sense. If we mix it with Green Day and All Time Low and you guys, like maybe we have a voice that will come out of that genre, that style or whatever.
It makes total sense to me.
Yeah. And so that was our first like tour, and we quickly realized that we needed to step it up and get tighter and whatever. But that was our first one. And then, the third tour we ever did was One Direction's tour.
How big were the venues?
Well, they were huge, but even they were doing O2 matinee shows. So this is 24,000 people twice a day, one at 3 p.m., one at 8 p.m. What the hell? They did that for, we just stuck around there for 2 weeks. They just never stopped playing shows. But that's some real pressure too. Like then we're seeing people, young guys like our age, working that hard.
Working hard.
Playing 2 shows a day in arenas is pretty unheard of these days. I haven't heard that at all since, honestly.
Yeah.
For 2 weeks as well. And we do that in every city. So that tour lasted about 2 years or something.
Yeah.
And we played something
that was kind of like peak, like One Direction.
Peak,
time.
Yeah. And we would play our 20-minute set. We were playing songs that weren't even released yet.
Yeah.
So it was pretty brutal. Like, you know. But yeah, it was crazy seeing that. That was the big reveal of.
I was like getting thrown into the like there was definitely a version of that like not working for you.
Yeah, it wasn't even worth
you could
getting
have fallen apart doing that.
Yeah, it was so much surrender. I remember we used to talk to each other and we're like, it's not even worth getting nervous.
Right.
Like we don't even have anything on the line yet. Like we just may as well bring some chaotic energy and throw everything we got at it, and not. But even,
like the band could have broken up then. Like that's a lot of pressure. Like to throw some kids out there on this big ass tour, and then you have to get up there and perform every night. And there is a version of that where the pressure's too much.
Yeah,
and you guys can't take it.
Yeah, I remember the first ones, but obviously we got to get our chops through doing those twice a day for 2 weeks. By the end of that 2 weeks, we had played 20 arena shows or something.
That's insane.
Which was like, I don't know, the biggest blessing that's ever happened to us. Like it just was an unbelievable opportunity, you know? And that's where we just became a better band live, you know? Yeah.
And they have like a very, I find that they're certainly back then and still like, I've only gotten to know Louis and Liam really like and not well. I can't say that I know them really well, but I've gotten to spend a little bit of time meet them, and I was struck by like a similar kind of working class, like you know, like it feels like, and they're English, so maybe that's the English version, and you're the Australian version, and I'm the American version. But like well-mannered, hardworking, thoughtful. Feels like they're aware of the opportunity, they respect it, but at the same time, it feels very like working class to me. Like hardworking. There's something about that when you've done hard work yourself, you respect other people that are working hard.
Yeah, and
I was struck by them and how like genuine I felt like they were. And not that I was expecting anything. I didn't know what to expect. I'm always kind of open-minded when I meet anyone, but I was struck by like how thoughtful I thought they were. And I really liked them.
Yeah, they're incredible guys. Like, and they all have their own roles. They're like really, one guy's great at business stuff. The other guy's good at like marketing stuff. Yeah. The other guy's a great songwriter, you know.
Yeah, Niles goes on. Like, Niles are really good. Like he strikes me as like a guy who loves to like write a song, play the guitar, write a song.
Well, he has true spirit from where he's from in his music too,
Right.
and that's like a whole other story. Like,
Yeah, it feels like real musicality and real love for like the music, but they all kind of do. But so when you look back on that time, and then the years that followed were even crazier,
yeah.
right? Because that's when the real ride kind of started for you.
Yeah, what was weird was we came off that first tour with them and we went away for 2 years and we made like an album and we started doing our own tours and blah, blah, blah. And then they were looking for a support band and we were actually the best fit again because we were doing well with She Looks So Perfect.
Right.
So we submitted. We're like, let's do it.
Do you guys
again.
still play that song?
Yeah.
Great.
We play it first
I'd be
usually.
so bummed.
Right
if you
out the
didn't.
bag.
It's
like,
one of my favorites still.
yeah, same.
Yeah.
We love that song. It's like, and the way that song's influence is growing is something that I've been witnessing from my seat.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It's a great song.
It's really cool. Like I'm sure you notice with your guys' songs that how they all of a sudden start to attain new meaning, new life, new message, new movement.
Totally.
With people.
They
like,
evolve.
yeah.
That's the thing about songs is they take on a life of their own.
Yeah.
And the people that are listening to them give them different meaning. And then over time, it's almost like this like mass like collective consciousness
Yeah.
when we're all looking or listening to something and there's this like mass conversationing happening outside of us.
Yeah.
And they're slowly taking on new meanings and livelihoods. And it's so cool.
For me, that's the dream of the songwriting thing. It's like if we can make something that takes on a life of its own without me like having to push it on people every single day of my life, you know, when the song goes beyond my influence or our influence or anything like that, and people just like it because they like it and they continue sharing it forever.
Yeah.
Like it's pretty, that's the dream. Like that's cool.
Well, that's a real song.
Yeah.
And so like, I think that's the difference. Like when I say like, will something stand the test of time? And I always believed maybe it's not the version, you know, the version that you guys are today is this evolved version that no one could predict. It was something, it's like it's like a tree that grows, right? But I always kind of knew that you guys were like, that your songs would stand the test of time and that you'd have a catalog that would, you're this age, you can still go tour, you can still play all your songs.
Mm-hmm.
And like, again, like that's not something that everyone can do.
Yeah, we're about to do that. Like the songs we're playing are from back there for us now, and we made them when we were 15, 16, 17, 18.
How do they sound live compared
They
to
sound
like,
massive.
right?
They're like
Bigger, right?
Yeah, they're bigger. Like the
Yeah.
way we're playing them now is, you know, it's a band that has been touring for a decade, like it, and they slam.
Yeah,
they
do.
feel exciting, and the lyrical content doesn't feel too young anymore. It just feels like it's from back then.
Or even
And
it
it's-
applies it all, but even like when you're singing it now, it's almost like it applies to something different now, and it still stands in a more mature way because you've lived a little more.
Yeah, and I feel in myself that you just have to have ultimate respect for what you've released.
Yeah.
Like just stand behind it. Like
Well,
don't let
yes.
people see you be like, "Oh, I don't know about that song anymore." Like
I think you
That's who
guys
you
do that
were.
really well.
yeah, like it's who you were.
We
Like,
didn't do that as well until we got older and we realized like we needed to love ourselves a little bit more.
yeah.
It's
Yeah.
therapeutic process, but you guys do that really well.
Yeah, because when you get out there again and it's not about you
Right.
from my perspective or my philosophy towards it. It's not about me. It's about the people showing up who played that song in their own circumstance, in their own world, in whatever way they applied their emotion to
That
it.
moment in their life.
Yeah, and it's about them. Like deliver. Like, you know, they're looking to you to go, that was my favorite song. Like that's why I'm here.
And a lot of people show up for you guys. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Big.
I'm loving it lately. It's been awesome. Like I feel like we've grown a really beautiful thing.
Yeah.
And it's really awesome to serve it at the age I'm at right now.
Still just really young. Though,
I know.
by
I
the
feel
way.
it just feels weird. It's like
you just started young, dude.
Yeah,
that's what's
that's-
cool. You have all this experience, and you know, you could sit there and talk to another guy that's 27, 28, 29, who's just having his first real chance or go or success or whatever. And you could probably give them a lot of advice that, like, it's interesting, like you've lived a few lifetimes.
Hmm.
When you think about like the last 10 years, how many lifetimes do you feel like you've lived in that 10 years?
Well, I feel like I don't know any of those guys, but I know that my intention remained the same.
Yeah.
But the shell kept shedding.
Yeah.
Over and over and over and over and over. And I still, but that's when the spiritual practice came in. I
Right.
was like, well,
Are you religious, or are you like or is it more like a spiritual?
it's just spiritualism.
Cool.
Like kind of like a dualistic Buddhist in a
Yeah.
way. But I think it's all happening. Nothing's good or bad.
Right.
I'm one of those guys.
Right. I kind of am similar.
But you get there through suffering.
Right.
Like it's just suffering.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, if this life is suffering,
Life is full of suffering.
then I need to be cool with it. Like at least tell myself I could be cool with it, you know.
It's the promise of life that we will suffer.
Yeah.
And
So
there will be painful moments that we have to.
yeah, which makes being in a band even more special.
Right.
Because it does relieve a lot of suffering for some reason. It's like it's just this energetic engine that you can cathartically push your traumas through, you can push your suffering through, your energy, the shit that you got caught up in you. It's a vehicle
It's a practice
to
even.
express. Yeah.
It's almost like the guys who do like Tai Chi.
Yeah.
It's similar to that, like when you do music. It's very much a practice of like,
Yeah. People are like, why are you hitting the drums so hard? It's like, I'm releasing.
yeah.
This isn't like, I'm not playing the song. Today's energy is coming through and being applied, you know?
When did that spiritual side of you kind of come forth?
When I kept getting triggered by everything,
Right.
getting angry about stuff, feeling like I was just one of a kind, lonely,
Right.
like, you know,
Mm.
and kept messing up my relationships and stuff just by not having that like unconditional thing that comes through, and you start to just realize that kindness is worth it first, and that's how you heal things, and it's better to be forgiving than begrudging. I think.
I think, but that's I feel like we all have that. Every person has that moment where, and it's all kind of like always in your like somewhere in your mid to late 20s, because you become like this adult. You come out of youth and you kind of come in. You turn this corner somewhere in your 20s where you become, fully aware that you're responsible for yourself,
Your life.
and and your actions, and then you also become aware that you have some that you like have some issues.
Yeah.
Since you're not aware of it when you're young, you're completely unconscious.
Well, usually the issues are what are sold about you.
Yeah.
Which is even more confusing. It's
Yeah.
like, damn, y'all
It's
put
pretty
that up on
bad.
the, y'all put that first.
It's pretty dark, actually.
Yeah, it's like, for instance, like you go on my Wikipedia, all it talks about is my like dysfunctional family life growing up.
Mine
it's
too.
Like, yeah, it's like that's brutal,
Thanks,
man.
guys.
Yeah, like, do we really have to put that first? Like,
Yeah.
I feel like I did a whole bunch of other stuff we could talk about too.
God, it's painful when you read it sometimes. I feel the same way. I'm like, why are you guys advertising my relationship with my father?
Yeah.
And you're like, and then you have to try and trivialize it so that you can live with what's happening.
Yeah.
Instead of going, it's really painful that all of you know about my relationship with my dad. And yes, I know I wrote about it,
Yeah.
but that was my outlet.
Yeah.
But now everyone it's on my Wikipedia page.
I know.
And I'm embarrassed by it kind of, because I also don't hate him fully.
No.
I'm
no.
trying to find peace here, and you all kind of hate him.
I know.
And it's just so confusing when you're like 21, 22.
It is, yeah. But that also is like an element of personal forgiveness that comes in, all that stuff. But yeah, it's just seeing everyone as you. Bunch of me's out there. I'm a you, you're a me.
The old golden rule.
Yeah. But I try to stick to that because it makes me kinder. And I think about things a little more mindfulness, you know. But
I totally agree. I think it allows us to also like ourselves,
yeah. Yeah.
which is a thing I had to learn how to do.
Yeah. Oh, every day.
It's like that critical voice that was always in my head. whether it came from me or not, it likely came from someone when I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
And then I learned how to talk to myself by modeling after the adults.
Mm-hmm.
But that voice is there now, and I think if we can't replace it or change it, which is way, I always say, like, if people are out there listening and they're going through this life change of like, how do I become the person I want to be? Maybe it's my health, or maybe it's my personal happiness, or my, my productivity. I want to achieve a goal or whatever. The voice is important. The
Mm-hmm.
one that's telling you can do it,
Mm-hmm.
and it's worth it. Your best effort was worth it.
Mm-hmm.
But if the original programming you have is a critical voice,
Yeah.
what are you doing? You better watch out. You better blah 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 blah. You better blah blah blah. You have to learn how. What I kind of, if I visualize it, what I had to learn how to do was turn that voice down, and then try to introduce another voice when I was aware that I was being mean to myself. Because I've said this before, but like, if 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 anyone else was talking to me that way,
Yeah.
wouldn't hang out with them.
Yeah. It's also like just becoming like put less worth on what people think of you.
Yeah.
You know, like it's incredibly hard, and I deal with this all the time. But I'm like, look, if I'm making a clown of myself, or I'm like, you're scared of your art form because you're afraid of not being the best at it or whatever, it's like you got to do it for you. Like you just love it. You just do it. It doesn't matter what anyone says about it. It doesn't matter what they perceive it as. Your only job is to like shine through all that and not take it personally and not attach it to your definition of self. Like, just got to throw yourself into stuff. Like, I'm not the most confident person, but I'm on stage and I put myself on stage because it like scares me. And I know that if it's like skydiving, I just got to get out there, and something else switches on, and I like the way it feels and I like what I do. But you're always going to get people who are like, have that negative, they project their negative inner voice on you. It's a maze of that. So you really got to be uninfluenced. I think being uninfluenced sometimes is like the way to clear your head and gain confidence.
Do you feel like the thing that drives you? Because you have never struck me as a person that doesn't have intention. So you do feel like you if you put your eye on it, you're gonna go after it, work after it. Do you feel like your drive comes from either growing up with not a lot of us sometimes, and I certainly from experience have a fear of losing everything and being back there, because that's like, it's the place where I started was bad enough that I never wanted to go there again. And so I always found myself working to get away from it. And even at this age, I can still say that it lives deep in my gut. Like the fear of ever being back there. It's as far away as I am from it now.
Yeah.
So the fear of losing or going back. B, the respect of the opportunity, and just like it feeling like it's so big. We have to do this. Or C, to prove everyone that I am valuable, that I am special, that I can do something.
It's not that for me, but it is a little bit of where I'm from, I guess. But the further I got in my consciousnness from where I grew up, the more I loved it. The more I was like, oh, that was the incubation for me, and all my a lot of my strength and a lot of my sensitivity to other people's lives. I feel like it's a human to human gift that I get to beat the shit out of drums every night and write these feeling songs about things I've been through and present them. That's definitely a gift. That's a big thing why I continue. And then the other thing is, how do I want to die? And it's just doing this. Like, I probably, that's cool with me. Like, I'm kind of creating that for myself. I'm not going to go and give up or anything. I've chosen what I want. I've chosen what I want to do, and I'll die doing that. Like, that's cool with me.
Morbid and great.
yeah, it's just how it is for me. I'm a little bit nihilistic deep
Mm.
down. I'm like, this life is chaos. And
Are you hard on yourself?
yeah, but I was fatherless.
Right.
So
You had to
my
be.
father is in my heart, you know,
Right.
that's talking to me. I'm my own, you know, you can do better, I say, or,
Right.
you know, rise to it. Um,
It's interesting.
don't, you know, because I can, that the source, you know, it's a spiritual place, that voice where it speaks a bit of truth in the back of your head and you know it's right and you know you should follow it. That's kind of my father.
Yeah.
It's a weird thing.
No, it's
It's a
not.
complex
It's not.
psychological thing.
It's
but
not actually. I actually feel the same way. Like I feel like you know my relationship with my dad was estranged for most of my life. You know, and he left when I was young, and then we didn't reconnect until very very later.
Mhm.
And you know my mother was under so much strain, and so that she didn't have a real. Not only do I think she didn't have the tools, I don't think she had the capacity to take care of us. So it was the kids. Like we all kind of like the four of us like stuck together and we figured things out. And then we all left home at young ages.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
had to learn how to be parents, and that's the thing too. When you have kids, it kind of fucks you up because like I had an early model from when I was young, and then there was this big gap of like in my formative years, I didn't have parents that I was like bouncing stuff off of or like calling like, hey mom or hey dad, like, hey, what should I do here? And especially you come in getting into the music business at a young age and you have some contract and you're
Oh
like,
my God.
mom and dad, what do I do here? There was no one.
No.
So then I can't say that we had terrible people around us, but I can also say that there was one person that stood out as a parental guiding figure that didn't care about anything but the well-being of us. And also where we're from, it just seems like such a magical opportunity. You better sign whatever they put in front of you.
Exactly.
And, you know, so I understand all of it.
Yeah.
But now as an adult with say my kids were going to go into this business, I would be protective.
Yeah.
And I would bet on them long term. I wouldn't sign something that was bad long term. And
Yeah.
you know, I mean,
Yeah. I was down to sign anything as well.
yeah, me too. I was like,
because-
put it in front of me.
But also I was too distracted, like working already. I was
Yeah.
like, whatever. Like this seems like when in a younger mind, I was like, all of that shit just seemed like noise.
Yeah.
I was like, it's got nothing to do with what I'm trying to achieve here, which is connectivity. Not.
It's the least important part to you at that time.
It was, yeah. But then you realize
because it's
that
pure. That's pure though.
yeah, really pure, really naive, and just like straight light. Just like I'm just gonna keep making music until I'm until I can't.
And you know what? I wouldn't even say naive. I would say there was an unfair advantage. Like I always say to you, like the game is rigged, man.
Yeah.
Right. Now it is rigged, but there are moves and you can win.
Yeah.
I'm not a hater of the music business. There are great people, but there are also predators and there are also lots of bad things. I tend to think there are more good people than bad people. But I think that like if I sat down with you and said, all right, kid, listen, option A is 1 + 1 = 2. Option B is 2 + 1 = 3. And option C, which is the one I want you to sign, is 1 + 1 = -8 for you
Yeah.
and 25 for me. You know what I mean? So like if any kid in their right mind would look at it and go, well, I don't really like option C. That just seems kind of unfair.
Yeah.
But this is the one. You got to sign it. No, you'd go, you know what? I'll take option 1. 1 + 1 = 2.
Yeah. But then the confusing part, man, is some of my best collaborations, not creatively, business-wise,
Right.
have come about by giving a bit more than I should have.
True.
Because you're saying to a whole team of people, you're going, look, I understand your livelihood counts on this.
Yeah.
I'm a part of it. You're a part of my livelihood.
I agree with that.
Let's make this a reward for you for X amount of time because I understand that I'm not bringing much to the table yet.
That's really, really smart. And it's really like real.
Yeah.
Because it's easy to also say, fuck the music business. Like, right? But that's not actually fuck the music business.
No.
You're right. Like you do have to give a little but then I think everyone has to respect it. And like let's also like make room for growth and like make room for these kind of these living, breathing things that aren't really, you can't put them on paper really. So like, I think you're 100% right. And that's actually the reality, which tells me like, oh, there's a guy who's lived through a bunch of deals and understood
Yeah.
and actually understood like the value of all the parties involved. And
Well, it just blew my mind when I was, you'll be in new territories and you're in a room of 40 label people.
right.
And it's like, wait, the contract I signed is essentially keeping everybody's jobs and stuff here and
Yeah.
all that kind of stuff. And you go, oh,
that's
I'm a
really
part of
smart.
something way bigger. Like this
Yeah.
is people paying their rent in the apartment that they moved to because they came here to work for Capitol Records. And
Right.
and me being a part of that company right now and me signing in means they can stay here for another 3 years.
It's true.
And little things like that you just don't, when you're too in yourself about what do I get, how am I going to get fed?
Really,
It's like you got to be a team player, big collab. That's how the dream works.
really thoughtful. That's
Yeah.
real, dude. That's like
Yeah.
it when you really break it down like that, it actually kind of contextualizes a lot about how it works and how we all succeed. It is in groups, it is in teams. And,
Yeah.
and when you have a good one, it's great.
Yeah, because I think you make your main money I think I'll make more money in 20 years than I have in the peak of my career.
Yes, you will.
Like that's because you bet on teams to solidify your brand, your name, your music, your everything in a global market. It takes thousands of people, thousands of jobs.
100%. And
You know?
and like I do think also like from my experience, I think the the companies we've built and the things we've been able to be a part of the last 10 years
Yeah.
are influential in a different way than our music was. But I like them both the same, like just as much, because I love the catalog that we the records we made and the legacy of our music. Like I'm really proud of it because like you guys, we started in high school, we didn't know anything, and we just tried really hard, and then we got better and better and better. And I can say with 100% confidence and not in a cocky way, when Good Charlotte steps on stage to this day, we can throw down live. Like we're a really good live band, and it's a lifetime of playing together.
Yeah.
From 15.
And you have an incredible drummer.
We have a sick drummer.
Oh my gosh. He's a
sick.
beast.
So are you though.
Yeah, but
He thinks you're a sick drummer too.
No, he's got that thing. He plays like the guy from Jane's Addiction as well. Anyways, but it's just drummer stuff.
He
But-
is a sick drummer.
Oh my gosh.
And he's played with some incredible people.
Yeah, didn't he play? Who did he play with?
Played with Morrissey.
Woo!
Played with Ben Harper.
Yeah.
He's a sick drummer. Dino is a one of a kind.
Yeah, you guys have a great motor.
Yeah.
Got a great engine back
And
there.
Paul, a bass player.
Ooh.
Sick rhythm section.
Yeah.
I mean, the dude, most of the time he's playing at like 50% of his capability.
Yeah.
With Good Charlotte songs, because if you hear him throw it out on bass, it's just like sick.
Madness.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's sick though. That's yeah, which is a whole other thing about how to build a band,
Yeah, it is. It's like a real thing. The rhythm section is the fucking anchor, man. If you don't have a good rhythm section, the whole live show, it cannot be good.
No.
Are you and Callum like?
Wow, we're full blown telekinesis, dude.
Right.
Him and I barely have conversations. We're just like we're thinking the same thing.
Because you guys are locked.
Sometimes we're pretty locked.
Yeah.
We just have a deeper thing. It's just something that happens when you learn your subconscious mind analyzes them without even asking it to, and you just learn them like for instance, if you went out hunting with someone or something, and you learn like their role is that they're gonna do that this way because you've done it with them 1,000 times, and your role is this. I really know Callum in that way. I know we have our own language, which is why our relationship is slightly indestructible because it isn't based on any external human shit.
Right.
It's a flow state that we get in together that's wordless.
Pretty crazy. It's like a dance too.
Yeah.
I was wondering that like what's your friendship with Callum like being the rhythm section and having to always be in sync, and when you guys get up there from start to finish of the show, everything else we can take in and take out.
Yeah.
But the rhythm section of the show for me is like the motor. It keeps everything in line. And that to me is the definition of a good show and a bad show, even like in Good Charlotte.
Yeah.
One time we had to have a drummer fill in, and it was a one-off thing. It was a freak accident.
Yeah.
Thank God it was all okay. But like, it was so hard. It was so bad. And it was a really good drummer.
Yeah.
But since Dino came in 15 years ago or something, you don't have to think about it. It just always is. Everything is locked.
So solid.
How is you and Callum like?
Yeah, I'm
Your
very
friendship.
Yeah, I'm blessed to be in a creative business with a guy like Callum.
Yeah.
Like, he is so human and real, and he's so deep and sensitive. But
Seems so easy though.
he has a deep wisdom that he's one of those guys, he won't say shit until he's like penny drops moments, you know?
Yeah.
Like, he's just like, he's an epic problem solver. He's not in it for like the like, look at Callum.
You're right.
And he's very zen, peaceful, big wave kind of guy. Yeah. And he has he's a deep soul. you
Yeah.
know?
He doesn't say a lot.
No, but he says a lot.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Mm.
Like, he has a lot of depth when he speaks. He speaks with a lot of intention, and
I remember when we were working with you guys back in the day, and I always wanted to make Callum laugh.
yeah.
Like, it was always like, I don't know why.
I feel like I actually remember that.
it's because there's some. It's
Did
like
you
a
used
prize.
to call him your son or
Yeah,
something like
Callum, you're my son. How are you?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I haven't called your mother. I'm a terrible dad. I would just try, like, I don't know why, but it felt like such a prize when I could get him to like laugh.
Yeah.
Not that he's not a fun guy, but he's quiet and you don't know what he's thinking.
Yeah.
And he's very reserved, extremely talented, great voice. Like,
Such a bass player.
dude, such a bass player though when it comes down to it.
Yeah.
And like, there's something about actually getting him to laugh, and like, it was always felt like money to me.
Yeah, I know.
I really, really like him, man.
Yeah, and he is critical for the social dynamic of our band. Like,
Yeah.
he is so zen, so real, so sensitive. Like, deeply thinks about everything. Yeah.
Is he the guy who like, if Callum's upset,
Oh yeah,
then
everything's
there's a
fucked up.
problem?
Yeah, things are messed up if Callum's upset.
Right.
Like, things are worse than you think.
Yeah.
Because he's not very swayable either. Like, we could be going through anything. He's never like stressed out or anything.
Right.
Very zen, dude. Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
I always thought like that's who Callum was. I always thought that. Like,
Yeah.
he's
Yeah.
God, he's a special one.
Yeah, but his definition of success is in his family.
Right.
Like, he wants to he's a family person, you know. He's not trying to have like a lot of material wealth. He's more like, is my family cool? He was like that from the get-go. To so much so where it's like, shit, I feel kind of guilty. Like, you're really good to your people. Like,
Yeah.
so good. He would cut off his own, you know, for his people, you know. He's amazing. But yeah, it's just the kind of guy he is.
Where's he live?
He's in LA.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. He's up the street.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was wondering if anyone lives in Australia.
No, not yet.
Okay.
I want to.
Right.
Yeah. That's
It's got to be conducive to actually being able to live there. I mean, going there is one thing. It kind of like you'll never not live in Australia, but actually keeping a house there when you're touring all the time, it doesn't make a lot of sense because it's so far. But like, I'm sure you go there every now and then, and you
yeah.
hunker down and like enjoy being home, because it is such a special place. But like, it is hard if you're a touring musician.
Living out of Australia, no way. No way. Like, that would just be extra hard.
Right.
Yeah. But I go back once a year
Cool.
just to touch base and hang out with my family and my brother and sister. Like, just getting older so quick.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the thing about being in a band. You miss a lot of people growing up and changing. And yeah.
The other thing that you don't talk about, but you miss all the birthdays,
All of them.
miss all the weddings, you miss all the special moments if someone has a game or someone has a
Yeah.
you know,
Life moment.
something that's special to them. You weren't there to witness it.
Yeah.
And so you don't get to give a lot to your family when you're doing this thing. And it's a sacrifice. It's not like it's not like that part of it is not like it's a good thing.
No, it's a huge sacrifice, you know? And that's why I think deep down it's painful if someone were to say to you, like, you know, I don't think this means shit to you or whatever, like, you're not working hard enough or whatever like that. It's like, you know, you sacrifice your whole family life, you know, for your dream or your gift. But you hope that, you know, the relationship I have with my brother and sister is like, I'm doing this because I got an opportunity to, and you guys should live your lives in that power too.
Yeah,
like
live your opportunity.
Whatever calls you, like,
Go for
don't
it.
hesitate. You know, this is it. So that's above all, I feel like that's what I'm contributing to them in a way.
I think it's like also there is a space where, and I think at the surface level, people could go, oh, they always kind of go first to like money and fame, but that's not actually the most important part of this. That's a byproduct of everyone else's idea of me. That's a byproduct of success, a byproduct of a bunch of other things. But like going after the dream you have to create something and then bring it to the world and then have it live in the world and take root and exist as a body of work, like any painter, any director of movies, writer, books, living in the world in a real way is the accomplishment. When I've gotten to that place where I have records that have a legacy of their own, and which you guys are at that place, I think you and maybe you haven't even thought about it, but like I have been able to think about it the last 10 years because I haven't been touring. I have kids and I've been raising kids and I've been able to think a lot about this stuff. And like the legacy of my music is going to be whatever it's going to be, but it is something.
It is, yeah.
And that was the accomplishment.
Yeah, that was it.
That was it. The author that wrote all those books, whether you read them or not, you know they exist. That's the accomplishment, is the legacy of the work.
And even, okay, so here's like a fourth wall moment for you.
Yeah.
I Just Want to Live.
Yeah.
Is how I learned that I could sing in falsetto.
Oh, wow.
On SingStar.
That's cool.
And you'll hear in most of Five Sauce's songs, I still go back to, why don't we just do some falsetto? Like, we need to get up there.
Falsetto's a great little
tool,
arrow,
which you taught to me.
Not a lot of people were doing falsetto.
No, they weren't, dude.
And I love falsetto.
Yeah, and it's such an effective way to cut through. And you know, I've always thought of that. So
you know how I learned to do falsetto?
How?
When we wrote I Just Want to Live.
Yeah, same.
I was singing the chorus and I couldn't get high enough, so I did it really quiet. It's just like hey, this is kind of what I'm thinking. And it was falsetto.
Yeah.
And then Eric Valentine was like, oh, that's cool, you should do that.
Stack it up. And
then we did it. And then I started practicing it and I got pretty good at singing falsetto.
Yeah.
But it was just out of like still being kids playing around writing songs.
I copped that through SingStar on PlayStation 2.
Sick.
That's how it came together, dude.
Hey, so it was important to be on that video game.
Yeah, it helped me discover my voice.
We were a big video game band.
Yeah, I was like, oh my God, what is this voice? I could sing up there.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
What about your new music?
Oh,
are you talking about it yet?
Yeah, I mean, people are fans of the band and my music and stuff, I'm making music all the time. I take every opportunity I can to make music. Like, that's what's up. Just got to show up for it. To be, you know, I kind of every now and then I'll go into dark mode and I just absorb the world, you know, and stop thinking so hard about how to translate it into something that benefits me. And I'll be like that. But then I know when I want to start writing songs again, plain and simply because I'll just hear them in my head. And then I just get going again. I hear the world, I see the colors of it. I, you know, hear the way I want to produce it. I hear the energy I want it, you know, I feel the energy that I'd like it to convey on the other side of the stage. And I get going on that, you know. With Five Sauce, I'm down to make an album every year forever, if they are. With my personal music, I'm always making it. Like,
Right. It's always just happening.
yeah, because it's developing to me. Like, I'm really on my artist journey. I'm developing my personal voice and message, you know, and that's what it's all about for me right now.
I I feel like you're so the latest music that I got to hear,
Hmm.
um, I was blown away by it.
Oh, thank you.
And
Yeah.
I mean, it's awkward to have to sit there and have someone tell you how blown away they were by your music and how do you respond. But I'm just saying, like, there is something in the music that you're making on your own, and I actually think some of it would work with Five Sus. Like, I think it's crazy sometimes. Like, but at the same time, like, I think it's as relevant and big in its own way, even though it's different than Five Sauce in some ways. I still like, God, I think it's so good. And if like, I feel like it needs to be released, and like, there's radio, like, I hear songs that could be on like alternative radio, and there's a real like vibe to it that is not, um, completely different from the the body of work you've made with Five Sauce, but like, you could tour with anyone with this music.
Hmm.
um and just as, but like, to me, it feels just as important, and in its own way it sits really nice next to everything you've done. But there's something about it that's like super new and fresh and mature, musical. It scratches all the itches for me when I listen to it.
That's amazing. Yeah.
I was blown away by it.
Thank you, man.
It was one of the reasons why I wanted you on to come talk here, because like, I was struck by it. I was just like, what the fuck? Like, this isn't a side project.
Yeah, I'm excited to continue on that. And everything I write, if it sounds a bit like Five Sauce, definitely Five Sauce.
Great,
Like,
yeah.
I send it that way.
Yeah.
Like that's where my allegiance is sometimes, you know. I'm like, oh, this is a Five Sauce banger for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
Because there's a personality to it that just translates, and it's like, what kind of band would you want behind this?
Yeah.
Five Sauce, you know. But then there's songs with my poetic message that's just me, you know.
Yeah.
I couldn't even ask the guys to sing it, you know, because it's just like, it's relevant to me. It means something to me.
And you're doing it for you, almost like,
Yeah.
I'm just tinkering with this thing over here.
Yeah, and I'm just patient with my own music. Like, I'm not gonna put it through the speed wheel. Like, it's right when it's right, and it's great when it's great. And I'm really pretty hell bent on writing the majority of it myself. Like, I've been in collaborative situations a lot with the band, but what my vibe is right now is discovering that truer voice for myself.
Do you feel like it's a little bit like you're in your own little studio painting, and you're just kind of painting a little bit every day, standing back, looking at it, going like, huh?
Yeah, and a lot of it's magnetism. A lot of it's like, you know, just for conversation's sake, like, I say to myself, I'm ready for the people in my life to help me evolve.
Mm.
And I just say it to myself. I say it every day. Just, I'm here, I'm ready, I'll show up, I'll do what I want to do, I'll do what I need to do. And I'm ready for people like that to appear in my life to help the teams that we're talking about, you know.
Yeah.
Like, I'm ready for that, you know. And you kind of prey on it, you know, like you bring it to yourself, you know. And I'm ready for the mystery that holds, in a way, you know. Like, I have no idea what will happen with my music, but
Well, something.
I'm gonna make it.
I
So
always say something.
something's gonna
Like,
happen. Yeah.
when people come to me and they're like, "What should I do?" and I'm like, "Well, something always leads to something,
Yeah, exactly.
and nothing always leads to nothing."
Yeah, like, but what I do know is it's naturally occurring for me. Like, I'm still really love being in the studio. I love making music, and I love searching my message and that kind of thing.
And,
So
and you know, and by the way, like, something always leads to something. Actually, my therapist taught me that, and I always use it. But having someone like that also just kind of changes your life when you have like a person that's helping you unpack everything and make sense of it. But I also think the kind of mantras you have, and the like the affirmations you have, and whether you realize it or not, whether you intentionally, like, I do think everyone needs personal GPS with some directions, so that every day we get up and we're going in the direction of the thing we're trying to achieve. And like, I do think that a lot of people kind of change directions and change gears and because they're not actually kind of being taught, like, no, like, if we want something to happen, we have to say it and say it.
Yeah.
And say it. And then as we're saying it every day, we actually start taking steps towards it. And like, another thing I kind of learned from someone was like, we will find what we're looking for in the forest, right? If we're looking for the bears, we'll find them.
Yeah.
And if we're looking for the berries and the good things, we'll find them. That is life. So like, by saying I want to grow, I want to evolve, you're going out into the world every day and like looking for it. And you're likely having a better experience because you're thinking that way than if you're like, I gotta watch out for all these fucking bad people and all this bad stuff. And
yeah.
And even the band, when you think about like, because I keep going back to like, how do these guys keep it together when we look around and we see everyone falling apart? And it has to be that you're all optimistic people looking for the good.
Yeah, we have optimistic mindsets because I mean, personally, I just don't see I don't see the point in training my mind to think any other way.
Yeah.
Like, life's really brutal.
Yeah.
Like, there's no point in just dwelling on that. Like, yeah, you know? Yeah, so I just try to speak to myself in a way that it's like I define my own success, which is just little, really tiny things. Like, you know, I'm not even going to reveal what they are.
That's good.
My successes, you know, it's just mine.
And your daily happiness.
Yeah, so, but that allows me to show up still for my everything because I'm not putting too much pressure on it, but I am doing the work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm happy for you.
Thank you, man. You too.
Dude, thanks for coming on.
Thank you.
I love talking to you, bro. I could talk to you for hours.
Yeah, I'm around, man. Let's chat again.
I love it. And I want some candles.
Oh, yeah, I'm
going to buy them.
I'll send you some candles, man. You don't have to buy them.
And some sauce.
Oh, yeah, some five sauce.
Is that like a thing people know yet or not?
Not quite, but
Okay.
I think they know it's in the pipeline. If you're a five sauce fan, you know the sauce is coming.
Okay. I won't say anything about the sauce, but I'm excited about it.
Soft sauce reveal.
And I'm going to come to the show.
Please do. Yeah, I'll see you at the forum.
When's the tour start?
I'm starting in Brazil next week.
Next week?
Yeah.
Oh, damn.
And we'll be out there for nearly 50 shows.
So where are you going to be in the week after next?
I think I'll be in Peru.
Peru?
Yeah.
Lima?
Yes, in Lima. Yeah, I'll be playing a show there. We haven't seen our fans there for like 6 years.
You guys are huge in South America. I mean,
know,
you're big everywhere, but like, you have some places where it's like, God damn, those shows are big.
Yeah, I'm really ready to.
I mean, the LA shows are going to be huge. All the shows in America, but like, every now and then I'll see a show and I'm like, God damn, Five Sauce, watch out.
I know, and I'm one of those guys. Like, if it's really popping off somewhere, I'll probably want to go live there soon. Like if like Five Sauce is destined for Peru, then I'll be down there more.
Peru is great. Brazil, all the touring. Brazil's insane. You know that.
Yeah.
Like, your fans there are nuts.
I know, they're amazing. I can't wait. Like, the audiences and the kind of shows we're preparing now are just unreal. So yeah.
I can't wait, dude.
Me too.
Love you, bro.
Thank you, dude. Love
Thanks,
you.
dude.
Cheers.
No bad times, I don't want no bad.
Thank you for checking out today's episode. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Don't forget, if you like the podcast, you can subscribe on Spotify, Apple, anywhere you listen. And if you really like the episode, you can rate it and review it on your favorite podcast platform. Thanks for listening. It means a lot. See you next time.